One day, Edward clanked into a siding to have a well-earned rest. He had just finished running a load of stone trucks after pulling a passenger train. He knew he was greatly valued by the Fat Controller for being a very versatile engine, but it was clear that he couldn't handle everything alone. As he sat in silence, he heard a familiar whistle. A long goods train rattled into the yard and came to a stop close by. The engine hauling it carried a tender like Edward and was even the same size as him, but he wore a striking coat of red paint. Edward had seen this engine on several occasions, but never had the chance to chat with him until now. "Hello there," he said politely. "I'm Edward. Who are you?" "I'm James," the engine huffed, before giving a long sigh. Edward then noticed just how red his face was. "Busy day, I assume?" "That's putting it mildly. I've been on goods all day, and these trucks are a nightmare. Wouldn't mind at least one run with coaches today." "Oh, I can understand that feeling," replied Edward. "Still, glad to see you're managing the best you can. I'm sure you'll have plenty of passenger trains ahead of you. You pull them quite well, from what I've seen." Though still feeling a little grumpy, James smiled at the compliment. He left the trucks and went off to find his next train. James was not owned by the Fat Controller's Railway, but he had been here so many times it was starting to feel like a second home. He was one of many engines loaned to the island to assist in the workload until there were more permanent residents. He assumed he was brought back so frequently due to his status as a mixed traffic engine, someone capable in all work, be it passengers or freight. Despite this, it didn't take long for James to favour one over the other. He considered himself the perfect fit for coaches due to his unique and, in his words, splendid paintwork. Something that didn't belong with filthy trucks. Recently, though, pulling passengers seemed like a rarity, and James was having a hard time seeing his boiler and brass dome being smudged in dirt and dust. A few days later, James snorted into the yards at the other end of the line. He had to collect a heavy train of coal trucks and bring it to the next station. The trucks themselves knew they were getting on James's nerves, and had no interest in changing that. "You know what?" wheezed one of the older trucks. "I've seen many things in my time, but I never once imagined laying eyes on a big hulking tomato with wheels." The whole train howled with laughter. "Shut up!" burst out James as he slammed into it. "Careful now," giggled another truck. "Gotta watch that fiery red temper of his." The journey hadn't even started, and already James was desperate to end it. Thing about trucks, though, is that sometimes they love to go beyond limits. When it was finally time to go, James found he couldn't get very far. He felt a great strain, and a loud squeak echoed along the train. He didn't stop, however. He just wanted the job to be over with. At last, his driver managed to slow him down. "You keep up with that and you'll break something," he scolded. "The Fat Controller won't like that, and certainly not your controller." That shut James up immediately. As a visitor, he at least understood the disrespect he would show in damaging this railway's property. The crew went along the train and found that all the brakes were on, and so, with the guards' help, hurried to release them. At last, James was able to leave the yards, but much later than he should have. Thankfully, the trucks had had enough fun and followed along smoothly. Now on the main line, James was more sad than cross. if he couldn't handle the worst of the trucks, it was well beyond unlikely he would be trusted with coaches, and if that was the case, what good would he be on any railway? Suddenly, he saw something strange ahead. On the line next to him sat a passenger train, and a very miserable green engine at the front. He recognized him as Henry, someone he knew tended to be very ill. "Same as usual, Henry?" he asked as he stopped alongside. "Yes," coughed Henry. "I was perfectly fine earlier too." Though feeling a little sorry for him, James felt somewhat better, knowing he wasn't the only one having a bad day. The guard walked up to the cab. "I don't suppose you'd be able to take over the train?" "Well, we'd love to," said James's driver, "but we got these trucks at the moment." James looked at the coaches. He could see how anxious the passengers were. "We could take both trains," he suggested, innocently. Henry scoffed. "Passengers and goods in one? What utter madness!" "Well, unless there's another engine, it's either that, or one of these trains are later than they already are," retorted James. "Besides, it's not like you're helping matters, are you?" Henry hissed angrily, but no one cared about that. The crew and guards fought it over. It was risky for James to pull such a long train. Eventually, though, considering the situation, they agreed. James pushed Henry into a nearby siding and shunted the coaches in front of his trucks. When everything was ready, he gave a mighty heave. "Come on, come on, come on!" he puffed as the long train rolled into motion. James quickly realized why his idea was met with hesitation. Bearing the weight of two trains took its toll on him, and he couldn't go as fast as he usually did. It was truly a blessing that the line to the next station didn't go uphill. The driver watched with concern as his engine strained and ached, yet continued onwards with no thought of stopping. After his foolishness from earlier, this probably would be the end of his visits to Sodor. But if it was, he would certainly leave with a final grand impression. At long last, after what felt like an age, James huffed and wheezed into the next station, bringing the train to a grateful stop. Edward, who was at the other platform, was amazed. "Good gracious, James, you're even redder than I last saw you." Before James could reply, several passengers huddled around him with praise and appreciation. "Sir Topham will want to hear this," one said. "He'd better be pleased with you." "More than pleased, I'd say," came a voice. James gulped. A short, well-dressed gentleman with a top hat walked up to him. He knew him all too well as the Fat Controller. "I was in the area when I caught word of a interesting train approaching. I must say, James, is it? You seem to have taken the term mixed traffic quite literally." James blushed. "Yes, sir." "Well, there's no need to be ashamed," smiled the Fat Controller. "Your quick thinking has resolved a great dilemma, and I'm more than proud of you. You've been to this island a few times now, and your performance has been a standout. Tell me, James, how would you feel about being a part of my railway?" James was surprised. "Really? Are you sure, sir?" "Why, certainly," laughed the Fat Controller. "You're just the engine I'm in need of. A special mixed traffic engine who can handle anything. I'm sure that Edward will be more than thankful for your help as well." James looked at Edward, who simply smiled back. "Oh, thank you, sir," he said delightfully. So that afternoon, James went to the works to have his new number painted. A big shiny number 5 on his tender. He was very happy to have a new home, and was looking forward to tomorrow. However, it's safe to say that his first day as a Fact Controller's engine didn't go all that smoothly.